Hello, thank you to Kieran Austin and Platinum Travel for inviting us today. My name is Lisa and I work for the Utah Office of Tourism based here in England. As you can see, Utah is located towards the west of the USA. You can either fly into the state capital of Salt Lake City or into Las Vegas, which is only a couple of hours from the southwest corner of Utah. It's the perfect state for the classic road trip, be that by car or by motorhome, and often combined with surrounding states of Nevada for Vegas, Arizona for Grand Canyon, Wyoming for Yellowstone or Colorado. It's a year-round destination. Winter is good for combining ski in the southern national parks. Summer, it gets hot. So it's good to get up early to do a morning activity, travel to your next destination in the middle of the day, aircon advisable, and then take in a late afternoon or evening activity. And then spring and autumn, my favourite time of year, as it's slightly cooler and it's much quieter. You'll need about 10 days to explore the state. 2 weeks would be good, 3 weeks even better. So why go to Utah? It's all about the scenery. The main reason is our mighty 5 national parks in the south. They are Arches, Bryce Canyon, Canyonlands, Capitol Reef and Zion, but there is so much more. Many of the state parks and national forests would be national parks as well in any other destination. We're quite spoiled. There is a scenic byway or backway that connects you from most locations, so no boring straight American interstates. And there are 18 certified international dark sky parks. That's more than any other place in the world. And we like to say that we've got the greatest snow on earth. All of this combines to make a beautiful adventure. See what I did there? So let's start in Salt Lake City, our capital to the north of the state. They've just opened a brand new international airport in September last year, making it very accessible to the city. It's literally 10 minutes from the city. The city itself has a really great walkable downtown area with lots of award-winning restaurants. And it's home of the Church of the Jesus Christ of the Latter-day Saints, or the Mormon Church. And you can have free guided tours around the temple and also Temple Square, where it's based on it. Salt Lake City is nestled very close to the Wasatch Front of the US Rockies Mountains and the perfect access to the Great Salt Lake and Antelope Island. So let's start with Arches National Park, named because it has over 2,000 natural arches in it. The clue is in the title. Popular walking trails are Double Arch, the Windows, and Delicate Arch, pictured here. My top tip for that is get up early and hike to Delicate Arch to experience the sunrise. You won't be disappointed. It's quite steep to get up there, but it is well worth the effort. It's also a designated international sky park, good for stargazing, and it's very close to the gateway town of Moab. And Moab is known as the adventure capital of Utah. It's got a good choice of accommodation and raftrants. Really great tie there actually, and there's a variety of activity operators that offer off-road adventures, whitewater rafting, mountain biking and guiding walks. Moving on to Canyonlands National Park. Canyonlands is 45 minutes away from Moab and is often likened to the Grand Canyon. Created over millions of years ago by the Colorado and Green Rivers, it's made up of 3 districts. The Needles to the south, the Islands in the Sky, which is the most popular area, with dramatic views down to the 2 rivers, and the Maze, which is quite remote and you do need a permit to access. Mesa Arch, pictured here, is in the Islands of the Sky district. So it's a great way to twin with Arches National Park, also Dead Horse Point State Park. This is where Thelma and Louise went over the edge in the film. And this gives you a good sort of like 2 or 3 nights to start your trip in Moab. Heading west, we come to Capitol Reef National Park. The lunar-like landscape here is truly mind-blowing. This dramatic scenery of huge cliffs and rock formations is all naturally formed. That's what makes it mind-blowing. Pictured here is a great scenic drive and gravel roads that take you into the real depths of the park to an area called Cathedral Valley. because they look like cathedrals. And I have to say, it was one of the highlights of my last trip. It was truly amazing. Little known though about Canyonlands is the park is home to some wonderful fruit orchards where you can taste some fruit from orchards planted by early pioneers. These orchards are still going strong, and it's a good excuse to try one of the local pies made by the local fruits after you've done a big hike. I mean, what's not to like? Bryce Canyon National Park, a truly huge natural amphitheatre. The rock spires you see here are called hoodoos, and some of them have been given very special names linked to their shape. So as you're going around and look closely, you might spot Queen Victoria or the three ugly naked guys, and not forgetting Thor's hammer. Sunrise and sunsets are particularly spectacular here, and I saw the Milky Way here, which was, and I don't use the word lightly, awesome. That is bucket list stuff. Finally, our last national park of the mighty five is Zion National Park. This is actually just 3 hours from Las Vegas. It's a huge canyon with towering cliffs. And what makes Zion different to the other national parks is that you're in the valley and you look up, whereas others you're either surrounded by it or you're looking down into the valley. You can go hiking, cycling, horse riding and canyoning. Two of the very famous hike here are the Narrows, which is pictured there on the left, and Angel's Landing, which is not for the faint-hearted. That's very high, it's very narrow, and it's very steep. To help preserve the park, though, you can't drive in the park, but there is a free shuttle bus that you pick up from the gateway town of Springdale, and it takes you to the designated stops within the park. Oh, they're just going electric as well now. So moving on to some of the other incredible sites across Utah, Monument Valley. This is, some of you will recognize this as the iconic filming locations, especially the Western films back in the day. Remember John Wayne sitting on his horse? Remember Forrest Gump running? This is Monument Valley. It's actually a Navajo tribal reservation sitting across the border between Utah and Arizona. And the tribespeople offer guided tours that can be done on horseback or 4x4. The monoliths here are spectacular, and probably the best one that the ones that you'll probably best know are the Mittens, as pictured here. Lake Powell, what a beauty and what a great spot to cool off during your road trip. If you just want a bit of downtime, a couple of days just chilling, you can go swimming, boating, you can take jet boats, you can do water sports, jet skis, kayaking, fishing, hiking, golfing, the list goes on. It's a really good kind of midway point on your, to kind of settle, have a breather before you head off on your road trip again. And look at it, it's fantastic. And some of the other locations I want to bring to your attention, the big picture there is Grand Staircase Escalante, huge off the beaten path, slot canyons, fabulous hikes and incredible scenery. Look at that sky. Goblin Valley State Park on the top right, lots of little hoodoos. Again, it's kind of off the beaten path again. Not very many people go there, but it's just so quirky. It's well worth the trip. Antelope Island, I mentioned before, again, completely spin, different look and feel. And then finally the Coral Pink Sand Dunes and State Park. When you're there, you can have a go at sandboarding or just take a dune buggy tour and ride through this spectacular pink sand. But scenic driving, Utah really is the ultimate road trip destination, and it's the best way to experience it. Lots of people worry about driving overseas, being on the wrong side of the road, having to tackle multi-lane highways. In Utah, it's easy. Large, open roads, little traffic. Pictured here is Scenic Byway 12, and this is the route between Bryce Canyon and Capitol Reef National Parks, and one of the best and most beautiful drives I've ever done. It's very rare that you drive along the road and you go, wow, and then 5 minutes later, wow. And, oh my God, I mean, and you literally do this down Highway 12, Scenic Highway 12, it's fantastic. And as I mentioned before, Utah is home to the highest concentration of accredited international dark sky places in the world. This is where there's very little light pollution and fantastic stargazing opportunities. Many of the locations have ranger-led dark sky programs, often free, and they use high-powered telescopes for you to look at, and they can point out the sky and the star constellations. You also have, on a bright night, a good chance of seeing the Milky Way. As I said, bucket list stuff. And down to activities, you can activities and adventure galore are run throughout Utah, but you can be as hardcore or as softcore as you want. For some, the adventure may be just hitting the open road and exploring the national parks, getting out, having a mooch around and a wander, and that's brilliant, and you can absolutely do that in Utah. For others, they may want to test themselves, they might want to go mountain biking, canyoneering, they want to do some whitewater rafting, they want to do horseback riding, climbing. You have options. You don't have to feel forced to be super active. You can just take Utah at your own pace. And as I mentioned before, the greatest snow, we think we've got the greatest snow on Earth. The snow in Utah is light, fluffy and powdery, and for skiers that's super important. There are 10 ski and snowboard resorts within 1 hour of Salt Lake City. It's not like skiing in the European resorts. The slopes are wide open. It's like skiing down a motorway. There are very few other skiers around as well, so it's perfect, freedom. Park City is probably the best known resort. It's a lovely mountain town, and it hosted the Winter Olympics in 2002. But winter is more than just skiing in Utah. You've got options to go snowmobiling, tubing, which is great fun, tobogganing, cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, and you can even have a go at the bobsleigh on the track at the Olympic Park if you're brave enough. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope I've managed to tease you a little bit into coming over and visiting Utah. I'm Lisa. I work very closely with Platinum Travel, and together we can create your perfect Utah adventure. Thank you.